Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Talking with Michael. How you doing? I'm Michael, and today we have Sunny Singh of Singh in the City. How are you doing, Sunny?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Michael.
So I met you, where was it? It was actually a Sikh event.
Times Square, a turban event,
Yeah.
a year ago,
Yeah.
2 years ago, I would say.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while. So let's first talk about you, and then let's talk about Singh in the City.
Sure.
So, where are you from? What's your background? And how did you get into this whole entrepreneur venture?
Right. So, I'm from India, but just by looking at me, people think, I was probably, born and brought up in India.
Okay.
But actually, I was born in Africa.
Okay.
Uganda. My parents migrated there because of work, and then my mom and dad, they were there, so obviously I was born there.
Okay.
But then went to India. I stayed there for about 8 years to learn the culture.
Wow.
And really get have a deep down dive into the Sikh culture itself. Because we come from a family that is very cultural oriented and also very family oriented. That's how Indian people are usually structured.
Okay.
So that's why my parents put me into a school there, learned it, and then I came to the United States and started doing my real estate architecture studies. And then from there, it just always wanted to work for myself.
Okay.
And I worked at many different, offices and corporate real estate, and then I was like, you know what, I really need to get going, to do something that I like doing,
Something passionate about.
Something passionate about, something you want to wake up a day and say, you know what, today is a good day, I'm going to go and do X, Y, Z,
Right.
And working late night, and you get that satisfaction when you're working for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how, it became, who I am today.
Right. It's amazing. Everybody that I get blessed to speak to, that becomes the bottom line. I just want to be happy.
Right.
I just want to do what I can be passionate about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And happiness is two different things,
Okay. But what is happiness for you?
For me, happiness is, living a good life, doing good deeds,
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that I move forward every day. That makes me happy. But for some people, this may not be the case. It could be, just living with the family and traveling that makes them happy. So I personally am a very, optimistic person. So for me to move forward makes me a lot of happiness.
Right.
Gives me that. So that's what it means to me.
So what was it like culturally to go from Africa to America?
Right. So first of all, from Africa to India, then India to America.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So
You got a three whammy,
right? And imagine, you grow up learning and speaking African language, which was Swahili.
Wow.
And I didn't even know my own language.
Wow.
Because I had friends that, were African origin, so they were speaking Swahili, so I grew up with them, so that's what I spoke.
Wow.
And then when you go to another country, which technically was supposed to be yours,
Right.
You can't communicate, because you don't speak that language. Your parents, with your parents you speak a little bit, but, you're just not open to speak with everyone else, right? So that was a shock, so I pretty much dropped that language and learned a totally new language. And then after that, I come here, then I don't know much of an English.
Wow.
Right? I only knew read and write, but don't know how to speak. So that was another culture shock here. Okay, you know what? Now I got to start again, make friends, learn the language, talk to people, and then the good thing that I had was, I went to a school where there was no Indian person.
Oh, really?
So it was only, Spanish, Black, it was like Puerto Rican, Dominican, and other, people.
And that's in the States where?
That's in the state in the Bronx.
Okay.
So I grew up in the Bronx. I lived there for about 18 years.
Okay.
And so I went to high school there. So by not having people from my own culture, I did not have that edge that I can go and ask somebody for help. I just had to work things out on my own.
You had to figure it out.
To figure it out, and try to speak with people to learn.
Now, you're Sikh, correct?
I'm Sikh, yes.
So how is that from being Sikh in Africa, that experience, being Sikh in India, and then being Sikh in the Bronx.
Right. So I would say, being Sikh in Africa, I was very young, so I can't really speak to that.
Okay.
In India, so Sikhism, was founded in India, 15 centuries ago, right? So 500 years
The
ago,
15th
15th century,
Okay.
about 500 years ago. And, so I come from a state called Punjab. So Sikhs, prominently are from there. So over there, you don't really get, very different experience because everybody around you looks the same. Actual experience started happening when I came to the Bronx,
Okay.
right? And I came here in 2000.
Wow. Okay.
And I was still, trying to adjust. That's when 2001, 9/11 happened,
Wow.
right? And I'm in the Bronx, a guy with a turban in high school, and people don't know what to do at that time, right? So I had to go through a lot of harsh time explaining myself, who I am, where I come from,
what you believe in,
what I believe in,
Right.
And people usually confuse Sikh people with a lot of, Iraqi people, Afghanistan people, not to say that they're bad, it's just that, they're, people don't know because not a lot of people travel a lot.
Now, is there a
Difference.
difference in how your head wrap is wrapped
Right. So
versus those?
exactly.
Yeah.
So Sikh turbans, is basically a daily wear.
Okay.
Right. So we don't decide that, okay, today I'm going to wear a turban, tomorrow I'm not going to wear a turban. It's something that you wear on a daily basis and it has a religious meaning to it. So Sikh turbans are usually very pointy, or like mine, which is a little bit of a modern twist to it.
Okay.
When you get into other cultures, like Muslim and other African cultures, that wear turbans, their turbans are usually round, and they always have, a piece that is out, on their right shoulder or the left shoulder, and that's because the region that they live in, it's a hot region, and also there's a lot of dust, so they use that to cover their mouth and stuff like that. So that's where usually the difference between the Sikh turban and the turbans with other people's region.
So what made you just wake up one day and say, this is what I do every day, and now I want to share that with everybody?
Right. So I actually, it's funny, I actually attended a fashion event.
Okay.
Which was Viva Click It, sponsored by Ralph Lauren.
Okay.
And I, I'm very fashionable kind of person, so I made sure that I, match my turban with the color that their theme was, which was an orangish, yellowish color. And since I matched it, I went, everybody really liked it, everybody loved it, people from the event actually approached me and they said they would like to make a video, and showcase me into their brand.
Right.
And that's when, kind of everything started off. And I had a Sing in the City, IG personal page at the time.
Okay.
And so I decided, what? There are a lot of people who wants to wear turbans, but they don't know where to go, where to get knowledge from, and how to actually wrap the turban.
In fact, right now as you speak, I'm going to punch this up so people can see some of your art. I say it's art,
Right. So this is the shoot that we actually collaborated, and this was the theme was the boss shoot.
Wow.
And in that we were trying to portray, even with the turban, you can be very stylish because we right now in my
like
culture,
a boss.
Right, exactly, like a boss, right? And every culture goes through different phases. In
Right.
America, a lot of people, especially the young generation, they get influenced by many different other cultures. Some people don't want to wear turbans.
Right.
Some people want to wear turbans, but they don't know how to style it. So I decided, what, I'm going to become that person, that I will style the turban in a way that it looks like, it's part of your daily wear.
Right.
And also, help other people get to the point where they want to wear a turban because the way I look and work while I'm doing my work.
Now, question.
Yep.
Especially because we definitely hit a little bit on 9/11
Yes.
and some of the ignorance
Right.
after. How do you experience that and then say, I'm going to build a company around sharing this part of my culture, which a lot of people see it and they automatically start bugging out.
Right. So 9/11, was obviously a tragedy for all of us, right? And Sikhism, we experienced it on first hand, because the first death that happened in America, was a Sikh man who was killed in Arizona, by someone who thought, we were related to people from Afghanistan who actually implemented the whole thing. So, but with that whole tragedy, Sikhs also got a lot of recognition.
Okay.
Because the tragedy happened, it went into the news. People started wondering, who are these people walking around with turbans, in America?
Right.
And a lot of things started happening, and, a lot of organizations came together. And then, there was a whole positive aspect to it. These are the Sikh people. This is their values. This is what they do on a daily basis. They're mostly entrepreneurs. Most of them are educated and work in corporate sectors. So I took that as an advantage in a positive way, saying, you know what, I'm gonna take this and put this out to the market where people will not be afraid to wear a turban, or also sit and eat with the guy who wears a turban.
And it's interesting because there's so many cultures that also have a form of head wrap.
Right.
In fact, a lot of people, if you notice, you really can't really find any pictures of me
right
without my head covered, because I cover it for spiritual reasons as well, as a way of showing humility.
Right, exactly. And that is why, turbans were actually introduced in a Sikh culture, because we feel, that you must cover your head because God is everywhere, right? So if you really think about, in different cultures like Christianity, Muslim, and Jewish or Hindus, whenever at the time of pray, Muslim will cover their head because they pray. Hindus, they cover their head at the temple.
Okay.
Jewish always wear the hamija thing on their head.
The hammock.
A hammock, right? They wear that. Christian always, a priest usually has the head cover at the time when they're doing the pre-services.
Right.
So our gurus, said, why cover your head only at the time of pray? Because you were saying the God is available at the time when you're praying. Our gurus said the God is everywhere, and it's everywhere at any time. So you must cover your head at all times.
And it's very interesting too. On the flip side, there are many that cover their head all in daily life.
Right.
But the moment they come before God in prayer, then they make sure that their head isn't covered.
Right.
As like the
exactly.
connection. So that's
that
interesting
connection.
as
It's
well.
interesting,
Yeah.
So I think, it's just everybody trying to reach to that one place.
Right.
And, everyone have their own ways and routes to go to. And whatever feel that, this is the way you can connect to it, I usually tell people, just do what you can feel, and that connects you to that source. And, that's the way to do it.
And I'm going to see if I can punch this in here, because I found this was super interesting. There's an article, again, about women with head wraps, and how it was a cultural thing, but then with slavery, it was something that was forced on the women to cover their heads. So that way you definitely can identify who the slaves were. And to tell you how beautiful people are, it's interesting that they started putting jewels and feathers and different things, decorations. So even with the oppression, they still found a way to make it beautiful. And when a lot of the colonialism started breaking down within Central America and South America, a lot of women decided to continue to wrap their hair as a way of like, this is who I am, and this is part of my history. I'm never going to forget.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
I thought that was great. Yeah.
That is great, and same thing in Sikh culture. So in Sikh culture, women and men, they're treated equally. So whatever men can do, a woman can do as well. There's no hierarchy.
Anything you can do, I could do better.
Exactly, right? So women's, they wear turbans as well, just like, the picture that you showed, it's part of the history, and you want to portray that.
Right. Wow. That is super interesting. So where do we go now with your company? I mean, first of all, was there an aha moment? Because they said, yeah, you decided, but let's go back a little bit. When you decided to move forward, was there an aha moment? You doing the right thing?
Yeah, I had few aha moments because, when I initially started, I didn't know what the response was going to be like, right? And all of my friends in my culture, they were like, you know what, it's never going to work. Because
like, what are you doing?
Right? They're like, what are you doing? You crazy? Who's going to wear a turban beside us?
Right.
Right? And and I'm like, I know there's a market out there.
Right.
People think, they just stay in their own hole.
Right.
When you go out and broad and, you see so much love.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. I put my pictures out, and I started meeting and networking with people. Right. And there was always an aha moment. Oh, can I wear your turban? Can you show me how to do it?
Right.
Do you just put it on, or do you wrap it? How long it is? How long does it take? All these questions kind of like came together, And then I started answering those questions, and it just created that dialogue, and then relationship happens, and the networking. So it was like, the journey has been great so far.
And there's so many African and Asian cultures that wrap their hair as well.
Exactly.
So it's not new. It's a universal thing.
Exactly.
And it goes back. In fact, if I'm correct, historically, and tell me if I am, forgive me if I'm not. Isn't it true that part of the wrapping your head, especially within the Sikh culture and the Sikh religion, was to equalize everyone?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because I think at some point, I know definitely within the earlier African cultures, if you had your head wrapped, you were like either a priest or royal or rich.
Right.
So with Sikhism, it was like, well, no, we're all royal. We're all special. We're all equal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Equal man.
Equal man. Right. So a lot of people know this. If you go back into the history, India is known for caste system.
Correct.
Right. Lower caste, middle class, upper caste, and untouchable, and things like that.
Right.
So when Sikhs came through, they're like, look.
The way you say it's like, boom, as I stepped into the room.
As I stepped into the room. And we're like, Sikhs came in and be like, yo, listen, this is not the way we're going to live, right?
Yo, son. Yo, son.
So we're like, yo, you know what? We understand that you build this whole untouchable type of thing, but, we're all equal, in the eyes of God, right? So just because, you're born in a certain family doesn't make you, better than other person.
Okay.
So as a Sikh, everyone will wear turbans, because our culture says that.
Right.
And then our last names, all males has last name Singh, right? So every Sikh male has a last name Singh, and every Sikh woman has a last name Kaur. Singh means a king, and Kaur means a princess.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why
why not queen?
Right, or queen, whatever you like, right? I mean, if a princess marries the king, then becomes the queen, right? Then you have that royalty that comes with it, right? So
still got that male hustle,
right?
See that? They only made you a princess. You gotta it's okay.
So the point is, because the caste system is usually determined by your last name,
right? Okay.
So.
Wow.
So when you have one last name in the entire Sikh nation, within the Sikh community, there's no up and down.
Right.
So forget about having up and down in another place,
Wow.
So everybody's equal. Simple as that.
Wow.
That's where it comes down
to. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's beautiful also.
Look, the thing is, I started looking at this way because I came here in America, and then you start analyzing your own, because I had to ask questions to myself. Why I'm wearing a turban? Why didn't I cut my hair? Why do I look like the general population out there? And then my parents, they helping me out, and obviously parents don't have all the answers.
I was about to say, through this whole thing, I mean, how does your family first,
right,
and then even just your spiritual family,
right,
react to?
Yeah, it's when I spoke to my family about Sing in the City, they're like, don't do it. Right?
Right.
They're like, look, we understand where you coming from, but other people within our own community will not understand that, right? Because their thought process is different, And I'm like, I'm doing it.
Right,
I don't
right,
care,
right.
what other people think. I'm just gonna go ahead and experience it and do it. And if there's a pushback, I'll see. But touch wood, no pushback. Actually,
Wow.
a young generation, that actually, supports me for it. They're like, look, you did something that nobody thought can do, and then reached out to a totally different kind of population and connected with them. From a business standpoint, and also from a networking and relationship standpoint. So my friends now are not people from my own community.
Interesting.
Mostly, my friends are other communities, Dominican, Puerto Rican, white, Asian, things like, and that is because of Sing in the City.
Wow.
And I'm really happy for that, because when you meet with other people, you learn so much from them. And then they ask you questions and you learn a lot about yourself. That's what happened with me. I learned, most I know about my own culture is because of the people that I sit and talk with, because they ask me questions. And then I don't know certain things. I look
Forces
it up.
you to learn first.
Exactly.
You
And
gotta step it up.
You gotta step it up. I start looking at things that I would not even consider looking at.
Right.
So that's
Well,
what
look
happens.
at Nick Cannon
Exactly.
going into the crates of history, and he started wearing a turban. They're like, well, black people don't wear turbans, and he's like, aha.
Aha moment.
Yes, they did,
Exactly.
and still do.
Exactly.
Goes back thousands of years, actually.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, I actually met his stylist.
Okay.
And I gave him my turban.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, look, you know what? I see Nick Cannon wearing turban, but he's wearing a pre-made turban that you
Right.
buy and you just put it on.
Which I'm getting
You
next
know.
week.
Right? You're getting the next one. So, and
Be mad. No,
so my turban, you don't buy and put it on. You
Right.
actually wrap it.
you gotta wrap it. Yeah.
And I've been considering actually, of working, trying to work out a turban that can be just put on.
Right.
But technically, in my personal feelings, I don't want to do that too much, because if you can't wrap it, it's not turban. It becomes a hat.
Interesting. Yeah.
Technically, and speaking from a royal side of it,
Right. Because there is a cultural
aspect
and
to
historical
it. Aspect to it. Most
Out
of the
respect.
Maharajas, they had people wrapping their turbans every day.
Wow.
Or they were
Why
wrapping
didn't they do it
themselves.
themselves?
I mean, they
I'm
were
just
Maharajas,
messing.
right? They were like, what? I got tons of money, man. I don't need to wrap my own turbans. I got people doing that for me.
Yeah.
So same thing,
Right.
So, but the moment you have a pre-made, it becomes a hat, because it's just like a hat. You take it, you put it on, you put it outside. That's it.
Wow.
So
I mean, are you offended at all? with
I'm not
people?
offended on that. I mean, people do it, and that's their personal reasons.
Okay.
If my turban is somebody wants to buy it and purchase it, I usually, meet with them personally, and I actually show them how to wrap a turban.
Okay.
And now I'm moving into a different segment where I started providing a turban services.
Okay.
Where-
Well, what's that about? Tell us
So
about that.
basically now, a lot of people who are getting married, someone wants to wear a turban at the time of their wedding, but they obviously don't know how to wrap it. So
Okay.
I actually, provide a customized turban for them, and go there and get them ready and wrap the turban on their head, so that way they have a perfect turban tied on their best day.
Wow.
So that's where, the model is moving for Sing in the City at the moment.
Now this that we're showing is your Instagram.
Yes.
Do you have any photos of events in which?
So if you go more down, you'll see,
Oh, by the way, see this one right here.
yes,
Now, is that normal to see jewels?
that is normal. That's very royal. So
Okay.
this was the event that I was referring to, where we click it, that I went, now this lady in the white, This was from the event. I actually went to a Newark Under the Star all white event,
Okay.
and I was invited by the organization to wrap few turbans on people.
Okay.
And she's one of the person from the event, and then we actually put a photo together. Came out pretty nice.
Yeah.
So that's her.
You gotta have me do these photos next time.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I don't know who took the photo. I got it.
But it looks really sharp. And again, I see pictures.
So right there, sitting with people. This is the turban event that we did at Times Square, and these people are actually from Europe.
Okay.
So I had a table where everybody was sitting with turbans on at Newark under the star, and we did the whole turban theme over there, so which was great.
Wow. This is great. And guys, you could just go to this Instagram and see this for yourself. Sing in the City, Singhinthecity, Sing in the City. Yeah, this is great. And they could order. They could.
Yeah, I mean, you can order the turban. You can DM me. You can do anything you like. Any color, any turban, any pattern. It's available, right?
Wow, this is nice.
This is Zaha Hadid.
Wow.
She wore the turban, and then picnic, different areas. A kid, start wearing turban, at the young age.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things, it's a growing
fashion week.
This is about the fashion week. This was it was a Philly Fashion Week.
Okay.
And this was the first time that I was able to do a fashion week there, and courtesy of a really good friend of mine,
Okay.
and we did that, and that was a really success. And then after that, I continued, in with the New York Fashion Week in New York last year, and that was a really good success. So it's moving in a very good pace at the moment. I have no complaints to it.
And you know what I love on there too? I like the fact let me see if I could punch this up also. I like the fact that when I go to your Instagram, you're showing life.
Right.
And I see relationships. Snoop.
Snoop Dogg. So he did a song, Sing is King.
Nice.
Right, and so that came out nice.
Wow.
So I put him up there. So yeah, the whole idea is I don't want to have this Sing in the City brand only for Sikh people.
Right.
That's why I try to show a normal life. You could live while wearing your turban.
Right.
You don't have to have something special going on there.
Right.
And then, a different kind of people, in my page you will see, people, Chinese to white to black, African American, all kind, because I want to make it as diverse as possible, just the way my culture is.
Cool.
Just that's the message.
Bringing people together.
Bringing people together. That's the motto.
Awesome. I think we should leave it right there.
Absolutely.
That's super positive. So again, so I guess the Instagram is the best way to contact you.
Instagram is the best way to contact me.
Okay. All right. And that's Sing in the City. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks
Sonny
for having
Singh.
me, Michael. Appreciate
Sonny
it.
Singh. Now Sonny King. Every time I hear that, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing and being so candid of your experiences.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for joining us, talking with Michael. Thanks again, Sonny Singh. I'm Michael, and we'll see you again soon. Enjoy the journey. Have a good one.